Non-binary gold prospector. Am I going to be receiving any context for this message? They dug up a fortune in them there hills. Okay, right. So this is going to be another video where I read out a bad pun and walk out at the end, isn't it? I can see it happening already. This video brought to you by my YouTube members and patrons. Thank you guys. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Who has just appeared? Oh, it's the soggy lady. There she goes. She was given a bath today, so she's a bit soggy. What was I just saying? The intro. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another YouTube member. No. How's it going, everybody? Attempt number 3. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today, we are going to be returning to r/onejoke, the subreddit dedicated to calling out conservatives and the only joke they have. It's just one. It's just, haha, but the gender. There are funny jokes in here, and the funny jokes usually don't come from conservatives, as you'll see, and they're not punching down. That tends to be why they're funny. But yeah, the one joke. Very quickly before we begin, I just wanted to mention that YouTube members and patrons, you guys get an extra video every single week for as low as £1 a month. That equates to about 25p per video. So if that is something that interests you, please do consider joining, as it really helps support the channel. I will also be live in 1 hour as of this video coming out. No, in 2 hours. God, I can't remember any of my intro today. What is going on? I will be live in 2 hours as of this video going live, as always, over at my Twitch. So if that is something that interests you, please do come along. I always love to see you guys there. I always have a great time streaming. Right, I have rambled too long. This is a terrible intro. Let's get into the subreddit, shall we? Ah, yes. Iron and manganese. 2 of the 118 possible genders. Yeah, I mean, it is literally just fee and like they haven't. Yeah, it is iron and manganese. That is exactly what it is. I've added nothing to this joke. What do you mean gender is a concept? So I can identify as anything now or what? Yeah, exactly. In that case, I identify as Adolf Hitler. My pronouns are Mein Kampf. I mean, it's very telling of the kind of person that made this joke that they immediately defaulted to Hitler, right? Like, I think it's pretty telling that this is probably just some edgy teenager who just thinks that, like, oh, you know what's really funny is when I say wacky, controversial statements like the Hitler. But if they're an adult, then, like, it's doubly so embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be that kind of teenager. I mean, I will admit I was that kind of teenager, but it's doubly so embarrassing to have not grown out of that into adulthood. 2021 versus 2026. Now this one it's real, but different dates for me. But as I mentioned, I was that kind of teenager, right? So, but I think this is one of the things that, for me at least, makes all of the attack helicopter haha gender jokes just all the more embarrassing for the people that made them, right? Because I did find those jokes funny once upon a time. However, that time was when I was 13 years old, right? 13 to 14 at most years old is when I found those kinds of jokes funny. So not only was I a teenager, right? An early teenager, a child, right? Not only was I a child who didn't understand the things I was saying and didn't understand good humor, right? That was also over 10 years ago. So not only were these jokes being made by children, they were being made by children over a decade ago. The joke hasn't been funny for over a decade. So I absolutely love to see people that, you know, grow as people, as we see in this case of this meme. But I will never not consider it embarrassing for people, especially adults, to be making these jokes, right? 10 years later, more than 10 years later, it's embarrassing. What are your pronouns? And of course, a couple people put in the helicopter emoji, you guys. It's the helicopter. This is the other thing, right? So not only is this joke that old, right, that I was making this joke as a 13-year-old over a decade ago. Not only is that the case, but it was the helicopter joke back then. That's how old this is, right? They haven't even gotten a new variation of the joke. And sure, occasionally you do get the person that just throws in a random inanimate object, but it's not a variation of the joke. joke to throw in a random inanimate object when the joke was already a random inanimate object, right? It's an ancient joke that they don't even have ways of improving because, to be fair, how do you improve a joke that involves punching down? Every day I get top surgery and every night they grow back again. Hashtag Prometheus. God, it's such a stretch. It's such a stretch, but I will allow it because they pulled it off. They, God damn it. It's good. It's good. That's a good joke. That's funny. They pulled it off. It's a stretch, but they pulled it off. I will give them that one. While we wait for my washing machine to finish, by the way, what do you guys think of the cloak? I have a longer undercloak to go underneath it as well, but while I'm sitting down, it's not going to matter. You're not going to be able to see it. I got the tunic underneath the cloak. I got the cloak over the top. It's got a hood I can put up, although not really while I'm wearing headphones. I've got my thumb braces on. I've got other armor as well, obviously, but these are the pieces I've got right now. I have a paw point arriving as well, which will fit the armor better, which I'll probably wear on top of the tunic and then have the cloak over that, and then I can mix and match which piece of armor I want to wear because it's got attachment points, so that'll be nice. But yeah, the cloak, it's almost done. It's not fully finished. It's like fit and everything. We're gonna cut dagging into the bottom for the vibe because dagging is cool, and then it'll be done. So what do you guys think? We've made this cloak homemade. I've got a second piece that I don't think I have any photos of, so maybe I'll take some, maybe I won't. I don't know. Depends if I can be bothered. The washing's done now, so moving on.
Free Palestine! Free Gaza, buddy. You have they, them, zay, zer, dragon / AirPod in your bio.
So I don't know if I can put the music in this one or if that will get copyright or not, but I need to process this one for a second before I even talk about it, just because of how dumb, cringe, stupid, nonsense this whole thing was. Cringe music aside, whether that makes it in or not, if it gets copyright, then I'll replace it with something more suiting. I don't know. So right, let's take apart the first argument before we even get to, well, actually no, I'll address the second guy first. He adds nothing to the video. He claps and goes, "She's right," while wearing a dressing gown. What? What? But like, so she really thought that she had something here, and apparently he did too. But first point I've got to make: free Palestine and free Gaza, right? Which is kind of the same thing. She says, and then says you've got they them pronouns in your bio, and then obviously the one joke of, "Oh, your dragon AirPods." Oh, you get it, guys? I said random things, therefore I win the argument. They don't relate at all. They don't relate in any semblance of a way. What? So people that have pronouns in their bio are supposed to just be okay with genocide in the Middle East. That doesn't, those things don't correlate. There's no link there. There's no, this argument doesn't make any sense. There's nothing to this argument. She's just saying things, right? That's not a, and then he's like, "She's right." About what? The things are not related in any way. They're not linked. One of these things does not suggest anything about the other. It's like saying, if you drive a Toyota Camry, you shouldn't be eating chocolate. It doesn't make sense, does it? They're two completely different, not in any way linked things. They don't relate. It's not, I don't understand what point she thinks she's making other than, haha, the gender. And then for the other guy to even be like, "She's right." In what, about what? Do people have pronouns? Yes, she is right. People have pronouns. Congratulations. You have stated a basic aspect of most human language. The uncomfortable truth. What's one truth people aren't ready to hear? You are the gender you were assigned at birth. It is not there to insult you. It is there to easily identify you if need be. If socially you want to be something else, go for it. So this one's not the one joke, but I wanted to put this in here anyway because it raises a point I want to talk about. That is, this guy has just stated the difference between gender and sex. That's all they've done. This isn't the uncomfortable truth. Trans people are very aware of the sex that they were born with, but like it's there to easily identify you if need be. And you say easily identify, but if you can't just, you know, immediately know exactly what someone's sex is just by looking at them, then it's not, is it? The only person that needs to know is your doctor at the end of the day. That's like the only person that might need to know if you are transgender or taking any hormone therapies or anything like that. Otherwise, your sex doesn't need to be publicly available to anybody. No one needs to know that. Like, the statement is just like, yes, gender is different from sex. No one's arguing that. Even then, sex in humans isn't a binary. It's not. So I don't really understand the point that they think they are making, or this uncomfortable truth that people aren't aware of. Everyone, at least in the transgender community, is very aware that sex and gender are two different things. And my Toyota is a Lambo. Humans are not cars. What do you mean?
Shut the fuck up, you intolerant pig. I identify as a car. It means I'm a car. You get it, guys? But they identify as an inanimate object. That's the joke. It's always the joke. But you know what? You know what? Fine. Fuck it. I'm gonna treat this person like a car. If that's what they want, that's what they told me. They identify as that. That's what they shall be identified as. Therefore, I will only be using it pronouns to refer to this car because they're a car. They're an inanimate object. So they get its. That's it. It only gets it pronouns from now on. Also, it is a car. Cars don't speak. Therefore, I will not be listening to a single word that this car ever has to say again. It's a car. It's an inanimate object. Inanimate objects don't speak. Inanimate objects also don't have rights beyond the rights of the people that own it. Therefore, this car no longer has rights. So it doesn't get a conversation with me. It's no longer getting to talk. It's referred tonally to as it, and it loses its human rights. I'm treating it exactly how it wants to be treated. And you know what? Anybody that makes these jokes about gender, like, oh, I identify as this, you know, the quickest way to shut them the fuck up is to treat them exactly like that. Treat them exactly how they want to be treated. Your pronouns are what's between your legs. So my pronouns are your/mom. Got him. I feel like that's the perfect response. But honestly, your pronouns are what's between your legs. Penis and vagina are not, they're nouns. They're not pronouns. They're not, I swear to God, so many people just never made it through fucking primary school. Like, pronouns are taught to children. It's not a difficult concept to grasp that the difference between pronouns, nouns, and proper nouns is a thing. And that pronouns are used to refer to pretty much everything, be it I or you or they or he or she. Pronouns are used for fucking everything in pretty much every single language, and they're taught to us since we're children. It's not a hard concept to grasp. Not all disabilities are visible. Top right dude has PTSD. We go a ways back. The bottom left identifies as a pterodactyl. Did you get it, guys? But the gender, they identify as a pterodactyl.
The conversation had nothing to do with it, right? The conversation had nothing to do with gender at all here. But this person's like, I've got to try and get that in anywhere I can. Trans people live rent-free in this kind of person's head, right? The conversation had nothing to do with gender or being trans, being non-binary, or anything like that. Pronouns not mentioned at all. This person just so obsessed with the concept that they have to bring it into every conversation that they can. Like, no one's laughing. Maybe at you, but no one's laughing with you, dude.
Canadian reporter person announces police persons have identified gun person.
Once again, the Babylon Bee just proving that it's incapable of being funny. Like, so this is obviously a play on the idea of like, oh, the political correctness gone wild. This is an argument that's been going on for over a decade. Right? Longer than that. Probably longer than I've even been alive is the whole like, oh, gender neutral language in the workplace. You can't say policeman anymore. Oh, political correctness gone wild. And it's an argument that conservatives have been making for fucking ages, right? For absolutely ages. Because they're the only people incapable of just like developing as a human being. Language develops constantly, right? The way that people speak English, especially young people speak English now, is completely different to 5 years ago, right? But conservatives are the only people completely incapable of advancing or developing language in any way. But all of that aside, the examples they've used, I assume are deliberate, because otherwise it's especially stupid, because reporter, police, and shooter are all gender neutral terms, right? And they've had to go reporter person, police persons, a gun person, and it's not a funny joke because they're already gender neutral terms, but only conservatives have a problem with using gender neutral terms, right? When these terms already exist, only conservatives for some reason have a problem with that. And the only reason I can think that might be is because they're incapable of learning, right? They could not possibly conceive of learning more than one word to describe policeman. Therefore, policeman has to be it. A police person or police? No, I've never heard those before. What do you mean they're really commonly used terms? No, I learned one word. I'm incapable of learning any other words ever again. But also, quite often it's just like preconceived notions of language that aren't correct. So they like force this idea of how language should work and claim that it's how language has always worked and that people are redefining the word with words that never were just that. Like a really common example is they as a singular pronoun to refer to one person, right? And they'll constantly be like, no, it's always been a plural. It's never been a singular. If you're using they as a singular, you're using it wrong, which just isn't correct. Like, I think I've referred to it ages ago. I probably don't have the picture anymore, but in a video years ago, I literally went to my parents' dictionary, which is from like the 1960s, and I flipped to the they page, and that had they listed as a singular as well as plural pronoun, right? Because how else would you say, like, say you find a pair of keys on the floor, you don't know who those keys belong to, but they assumedly belong to one person because they're a set of keys, right? So you'd go, someone, right? Singular, someone has lost their keys. A singular they, because you don't know the gender of that person. That's always existed in language. It's always existed in language. It's not new. But conservatives think they understand language better and make this argument that they has always been plural, but it's just not true. It's just not correct. So they have a subpar grasp of the human language and project that onto other people and make incorrect assertions about how they think language should work because people are using language in a way that has always made sense. And this is somehow the basis of a substantial amount of their political views. How did people turn failed education into a political identity? I wasn't so sure about being a girl when joining this sub. Glad we could help you reach your full potential.
Yes, I didn't immediately realize I was a black Jewish Rottweiler from North Korea either. Now my stool gender boyfriend and I are living happily ever after. It's good that I get along with the monkeys thanks to LGBTQ+, which helped me understand myself.
Do you get it, guys? Do you get the funny joke? It's word salad. The joke is that they just thought up as many random words as they could and put them in a sentence, and it's funny because haha, wacky gender. There's no punchline. The punchline is they just randomly came up with words to write. It's just word salad, but also low-key, like there's subtle racism in there as well because, you know, transphobe is racist, pot found in kitchen, but like there's not a joke, there's no punchline. It's just like, haha, the gender. Do they know what humor is? My wife told me I had to stop identifying as a flamingo. I had to put my foot down.